Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. I want to answer a question posed to me by the channel It's Wise. I feel that his question is fair, and I imagine a lot of other people have the same question. I'm going to link this video that he made down in the description. Please watch this video. It's short and it's full of knowledge. Very wise man, fitting name, It's Wise. He has a lot of occult esoteric knowledge, and what he shows is the occult esoteric symbolism of the umbrella and how it's been used by the elites, the same elites that govern over us in very wrongful fashion. And he wants to know why I chose to use an umbrella for the new social media website, All for Truth, in light of the fact that the gang uses the umbrella as a symbol of theirs, a symbol of deception, a symbol of hiding the truth. And here is the 100% honest answer. I did not create this symbol. I did not ask for it to be designed this way. What happened is we put money together. We went to a person who specializes in graphic design. We said, we have this idea. We want to create a social media website for truth seekers. We want to unite people in truth, get people working together in truth. What symbol comes to mind that you could create for us? So we gave him this idea. About 24 hours later, he came back with this. We didn't tell him we wanted any color scheme. He just put it together the way he envisioned it. And he came back with the T for truth and the umbrella of truth. And when I saw the symbol, I said right away to the two gentlemen who we were building the website with, I said, I hope this guy isn't in the gang. That was the first thing that came out of my mouth, because I said, you know, the umbrella is one of their symbols. But I said when I started this mission, before we got this far, I said what we're going to do is we're going to take these people's knowledge, their symbols, and we're going to put them back on them. We're going to take their knowledge, their symbols, and put it back on them, and we're going to expose what they're up to. That's why when I started the campaign, I said, let's raise $33,000. I said $33,000 is more than enough to get this project completed of building a website, getting an app, creating a safe place online for people to unite and organize. And I said, let's do $33,000 because it's more than enough money. It's symbolic. The word justice equals 33. The word teacher equals 33. In truth, 33 is important to we as human beings. Remember, we have 33 vertebrae in our back. 33. The word people's 33. The word person's 33. The word society's 33. The word destiny is 33. So this number, it's not all bad. The gang that uses it is bad. This gang takes these numbers, these symbols, and makes them dark, demonic, what they don't need to be. So I said, let's take what they're doing and let's flip the script. Let's make these numbers about good. Let's make 33 about justice, about being a teacher of knowledge. You know, it's the same thing with the umbrella in my mind. Sure, they've used the umbrella for this really negative symbol, but that's not what we're using it for. We're saying this is the safety umbrella of truth. And keep in mind, I live up here in Seattle. You know, in Seattle, it's a cultural thing. We don't want to use umbrellas. We just want to walk in the rain as if we're tough. A lot of people don't use umbrellas up here, but then again, there's a lot of people who aren't from Seattle, and they're definitely walking around with umbrellas. Staying dry, staying warm. So symbols are symbols, okay? And how you use symbols with intent, that's what makes the difference. The intent here is positive. The intent here is safety, organization, umbrella of truth. All for Truth's a place for people to be respectful and share ideas together. And it's going to be a community where people who are hostile, rude, aggressive, they're not going to be welcome. So there is no ill intent. You know, when he came back with the umbrella and the orange, I really grinned. I said, oh boy, orange and umbrella in light of what I've been teaching. Remember, orange is the only color that sums to 33. But in a way, I said, you know what? Maybe it's meant to be. I said from the beginning, we're flipping the script on them. And this is the symbol that came back. The orange, white, and gray umbrella. We didn't ask for any color scheme. We didn't ask for a specific symbol. We said, this is the idea. Show us. And all three of us, the three of us that essentially built the website, we weighed the pros and cons, and we said, you know what? Let's do it. The umbrella of truth, the symbol looks sharp, it's eye-catching, it communicates what we're about. You know, when we fix this world, the umbrella doesn't have to be a dark, nasty thing anymore. Doesn't have to be that anymore. So that's how I can answer the question. I'm going to link his video. Know about the dark side. Knowledge is power. Know about the dark side of the umbrella. Just understand that at All for Truth, it's not encompassing any of that. Just as I said, this is the safe place to organize for truth seekers. There's low money into this website so far. You know, there's no CIA surveillance. No one's collecting your data and information. There's nothing but positive intent here. And the amazing thing, I mean, you know what? I said from day one, we're putting it back on them, and just organically it worked out that way. From the day that I made the video, starting the campaign, saying what the mission was, from that day to the day this website launched was exactly 58 days later. And we didn't plan it that way. Freemasonry equals 58, secret society 58. Well, guess what? All for Truth is going to be putting an end to these secrets and these lies by this gang. Remember, Facebook equals 58 as well. And I said from the beginning, this is going to be the better version of Facebook. This is going to be the Facebook for honest people that want to make this world better. And remember, the day this launched, Facebook announced that they were now adding fake news to posts that they would be labeling. Fake news. The same day All for Truth launched. We came just in time for the censorship. And none of this is coordinated. None of this is planned. This is just things working out organically. And for all of you who have followed me from the beginning, there's been a lot of organic synchronicities in my work. I don't plan it. You know, some people have seen the synchronicity and they've accused me of being in the Illuminati. It's happened multiple times. You know, people have different minds, different perceptions. Somebody watched one of my videos and began leaving all these comments how it looked like I was shape-shifting in my videos. And I think the person was sincere. They were writing that I was a reptilian. You know, I'm as flesh and blood as any of you. The point is, we're a world, we're a people full of ideas, different upbringings, different knowledge. We need to learn to come together, put it all together, trust each other. You know, all things have duality. The umbrella doesn't have to be bad. It doesn't have to be evil. If you live up in Seattle, you definitely don't think umbrellas are evil. You think they're a part of life. I don't know if you guys can hear my girlfriend laughing in the background. So that's it. I mean, that's what it is. That's the symbol. That's why we went with it. I don't feel like I missed anything. I mean, I saw what it was, and I said, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's flip this symbol on them too. Why should they be able to have the umbrella? And if this man knows something that I don't, if he wants to enlighten me further as to why we can't do this, if I'm mistaken in this, you know what? We can always change the symbol. We'll have to go out and pay a little bit more money. If people really are scared of this symbol, we can always change the symbol. It doesn't have to be this. But I think this is a good symbol. I like this symbol, but if I find out that this is the reason people aren't joining and this is the reason people are doubting, you know, I don't want people to be scared away because of the symbol. There's no ill intention here. It's completely free to join. All of your information is safe, you know. I think I've said it all. So if you want to get back to me and let me know something I don't, please do. I'm going to link his video again down in the description so everyone can watch it. If you haven't joined All for Truth, here's what you need to know. On your smartphone, to join, click this menu button, and you'll see join come up. On the smartphone, it's that way. If you're on your computer, just right here, I'll just log out so you can see. On your computer, it'll say join or log in. Something you should know, and this should be further proof that we're not a shill organization. Verizon, AT&T, and a number of other large providers, right from the get, designated our website a spam site. They have blocked our IP address. That means if this is your provider for your email, Verizon, AT&T, it's also a number of others, it means that you cannot get an email from us. We can't send you the confirmation email to join the website because we've been blocked. And I'm trying to do something about that. But, you know, there's real opposition to stop this. The powers that be do not want to see us organize and work together and come together. This is what they strive to do, keep us continually divided, fighting over nonsense. So they see that something's happening in the world. They're trying to put the kibosh on this right now. What I suggested is to sign up for protonmail.com. Proton Mail is a free email service that encrypts all of your email. Since suggesting that, a number of people are spreading online that Proton Mail was created by the same people who created CERN. And you know what? That is true. The same people who created CERN created Proton Mail. But you know what else? The same people who created CERN have created a lot of things we use on the internet, including the internet as we know it. And as I've been saying, the internet is their territory. The mission of this website is to get people on here safely, working together, and then to organize in our communities, to create real relationships in our communities. Because online, this is their playground. They own online. They have the kill switch for online. We are using the internet to get to where we need to be as a people in reality. We're taking advantage of the technology. You know, and something else I want to caution you guys about CERN, a lot of the shill channels out here promote all this big fear with CERN. There's a lot of weird symbolism. There's a lot of weird stuff going on by the numbers at CERN, as I've documented. But just realize, CERN, instrumental in technology, instrumental in the internet. I don't think their Proton Mail is anything sinister. It encrypts, which means you're kept safe. And it's free. You should be protected. If you guys have a Google account, a Gmail, a Yahoo, guess what? They are collecting your information and they're letting you know that their accounts are getting hacked. So online, you're not safe. Use discretion online. This all for truth though. We're trying to make this as safe as a space as can be. And that Proton Mail, it works for our website. They accept our mail, so it's a way to get on the account. If you just want to use the Proton Mail one time to set up an account so that you can get on All for Truth, that's the only reason I suggested it. You know, I'm not trying to give you guys things to cause grief in your life. Proton Mail, I think it's a safe product. I've been using it, haven't had any problems with it. Encryption's a good thing. You know? Be aware, be mindful, don't be overly paranoid. Okay? A lot of people in this world are scaring you about things you don't need to be scared of. How many people have put out videos that CERN's going to blow up the world 500 times over now? See channels putting this up all the time. CERN's about to destroy the world. Remember, a lot of people are trying to create needless fear. Needless fear. So many people in this world have lived under needless fear. Where I grew up in the Pacific Northwest, the era of homes, they all have bomb shelters in the back. All these people, this whole generation with bomb shelters in their back because they thought they might get annihilated by nuclear weapons any second. You know what? It's gone on for decades. That hasn't happened to anybody. Fear and living under fear. I don't live under fear, Truth Seeker, and I hope you don't either. You know, a lot of people fear for me. I don't even fear for myself. These people want to come after me. I'll defend myself. You know, they've messed with me, but I'm not living in fear of them. Don't be fearful. You know, bravery is the way. Down in the description, I'm going to link his video. I'm also going to link this campaign. It goes till January 30th. We're about 2/3 of the way through the campaign. I don't think we're going to make it to 33,000, and you know what? That's okay. We've raised a lot of money. We've built the website. We have enough money to fund the website for at least the next year. I'm sure we'll be able to raise money in the future for additional needs. But if you can support this campaign, what we can do with that money is upgrade the website, get more features, and I really want to take a little bit of money and pay somebody to create a nice ad that we can get out there to attract people. I'm not here for money. I'm not here to get rich. That should be very obvious to you, you know. I'm not materialistic at all. None of this money raised is for me. It's all for the cause. The more things we can make happen with the resources we can accumulate, the faster this mission can take off. That is the point. And also, tonight, if you want to listen to my episode that I just finished making for Gematria Effect, it was this Wednesday, December 21st. If you want to listen to this episode, I talk about All for Truth here, the mission, what we're trying to do. It's so hard in this world because there's so many con men, there's so many liars, there's so many deceivers, there's so many people who know how to smile and then stab you in the back. I'm not one of those people, truth seeker. You know, a lot of you don't understand how I'm able to afford all this time to do all of this work without making a salary. Understand, from a young age, I saved money. I had a plan. I knew that I wanted to do this someday. In all honesty, that I achieved that plan, and then it was all taken from me in the end of 2014 when my home was burglarized. Everything was stolen. I didn't have the proper security. I had to think quick on my feet, and I went out and did something that I can't tell you guys about. You know, it comes with a sentence in a cage. And it wasn't bad. I didn't hurt anybody. Nobody's wrong off for it, but it afforded me the time to continue to do this. So right now I'm living on borrowed time because I decided to do something that came with a risk. I can only tell you guys so much, but I'm being honest with you. You know, I'm not a law-abiding citizen. I live by the golden rule, but I don't respect the laws of this nation. And because this nation has such stupid laws, by making certain things illegal, you know, they create a big price jump there. And if you know what you're doing, you can make a lot of money very quickly. This is a nation run by criminals. They've created things a certain way because these are the things they use to stay in power. You know, a smart person can tap into that and use their system to get ahead too. Anybody can do that who's willing to take the risk. You know, I'm telling you quite a bit. If you're intuitive, you can probably figure out what I'm saying. I live in Washington State. Here in Washington State, they made some recent law changes like they're doing nationwide. And where they're making those recent law changes, they're legalizing marijuana and making it cost as much as gold. People shouldn't have to pay as much as gold to get some marijuana. So I'm not going to say anymore. You know, if you can do some simple mathematics, I already told you enough. And don't worry, truth seeker, I'm not going to get any trouble for saying it. I could tell you guys more. You want to know some more things? Look it, I'm not telling you guys this stuff to... I don't even know if I should tell you guys this story. But I'm just going to put some things out here because people don't trust me. A lot of people don't trust me because they don't know who to trust in this world. But here's something that really happened to me. You know, I was set up. My home was burglarized. Somehow my neighbor was turned against me. He began harassing me. He went out and filed a restraining order against me after participating in burglarizing my house and harassing me. For months this went on. I even called the police department at one point to say, you know, the person who burglarized my home, they filed a restraining order against me. They're harassing me. Can somebody help me out of this situation? And I didn't expect anything from there because the police were definitely involved in the burglary of my home. And I never heard back from the police. I was burglarized in November. When it got warm that March and the grass grew, I'm a homeowner. The first day I went out there to weed and mow the lawn, my neighbor came out. He wasn't even doing anything in his front of the yard. He was just yelling across the street trying to get my attention. And I was ignoring him. Finally, I just turned around and told him to F off. And he said, gotcha. I just recorded you. And I said, man, F you. I don't care if you recorded me. I said, go show the police what an instigator you are. Well, I was wrong because I had about 5 police cars there in 10 minutes. You know, the first one was probably there in 2 minutes and they just kept coming in. They just kept piling on the street. They went over and talked to him first. And I was weeding my yard, just, you know, and then they came over like a pack, and then they asked me what was going on. And I said, well, what's going on is I'm trying to take care of my yard here. I got some weeds, and the lawn needs to be mowed. And I said, my neighbor, he should be across the street doing the same thing, but instead he's over here yelling at me, trying to get my attention. And he knows I'm not supposed to be talking to him. I have a restraining order. So finally I told him to F off. And the cop said, oh, so you talked to him? And I said, well, if you call that talking to somebody... And he said, well, you're under arrest. And I said, man, how can I be under arrest? He said, you know, you need to turn around. So I'm getting handcuffs put on me, and I'm explaining to him, I'm saying, look, man, you guys haven't done anything for me. It's as clear as day this guy burglarized my house. He went out and bought the same vehicle as me. He just said, well, that's not our problem. He said, he has the restraining order against you, not you against him. The cop said I should have filed one against him. I don't want to use the legal system. I don't believe in it. I didn't want to go out and file a restraining order against him. He's not a threat to me. I already stole everything out of the house. There's nothing else he could do. So anyway, I had to go to jail that day. I'd never been to jail before, so I got a nice arrest record, which is always good when your livelihood's a teacher. You know how that goes over on resumes saying you got arrested when you work with children. But it doesn't matter. I wasn't going back to school after doing this anyway, honestly. I mean, you put these videos out and say the things I say, that pretty much shoots your teaching career in the foot. So, it's funny how we got into this with the umbrella, but I'm just trying to tell you guys, I am an honest person. I've been working hard. I've gone through so much hardship. Anyway, get this. When I got out of jail, when I returned home from jail, which took a while because, you know, my girlfriend, she didn't know what to do. She didn't have a car. Finally, she got a hold of one of my neighbors, and my neighbor came and picked me up, you know. When I got home from jail, I took a shower. And while I was in the shower, my phone kept ringing. And normally when the phone's ringing in the shower, I just let it keep ringing. But it kept ringing over and over while I was in the shower. So finally I got out of the shower, saw what it was. It was my neighbor who just picked me up from jail. And this is my good neighbor, by the way, not the one who robbed my house. And so I pick up the phone and she says, "Zach, look out the window." I said, "What's going on? I'm in the shower." She said, "Just go look out your front window." So I go look out the front window. Well, she also told me before I even got there, but while I'm going to look, she's like, "There's guys standing out in front of your house with guns." So I look out the front window, and there's literally 2 pickup trucks pulled up in front of my neighbor's house that robbed me. He lives directly across the street. 2 pickup trucks and about 5 men standing in front of the house with the trucks, and they're all holding, like, it looks like AR-15s. Like a little small militia, all just standing out in front of the house, all holding their guns. And she said, "I think they're trying to intimidate you." And I said, "Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. I've never seen these people." And she'd never seen them before. And she's like, "I think you should call the police." And I said, "Well, yeah, they've been so great for me today." Well, so anyway, I just called the police and I said, "Look, I just got back out of jail." I said, "Now my neighbor who set me up and got me arrested," I said, "now it looks like he's got his buddies over here and they're all hanging out with guns in front of the house. There's 2 vehicles here and about 5 men standing out in front with guns." And the 911 connected me to the same police officer who had arrested me. So the same police officer who arrested me said, this is what he said to me on the phone. He said, "Zach, right now I could argue that you're harassing your neighbor again and I could come put you back in jail." And I said, "Are you serious, man?" I said, "There's people standing in front of my house with guns." I said, "As a police officer, you should come here. By the time you get here, my whole house might be shot up." And you know how long it took the officer to show up? About an hour and a half. There were 5 separate police vehicles here in about 10 minutes time or less for me telling my neighbor to F off. I call about a pack of guys with guns hanging out in front of my house, and it takes them an hour and a half to show up. Well, the guys with guns, they cleared out after about 20 minutes, more than an hour before the police officer showed up. And when the police officer got there, it was the same officer who arrested me, and he said, "Zach, I don't see anybody here. Zach, are you wasting my time?" He said, I could take you down to the jail right now for harassing your neighbor. Seems like you might have made up this story." And I said, "Look, man, it took you a long time to get here." I said, "If you would have got here as fast as you got here to arrest me, you would have seen these vehicles here with the guns." And he said, "Zach, this is America. People can have guns." I said, "Where in America do strangers just show up on somebody's street and stand in front of the house with guns?" And he said, "Zach, this is America. People can have guns." I said, I have a feeling I'm going to get shot to death tonight, and you're going to come by here and write that it was a coincidence. Maybe you'll write that my house is full of bullets and I committed suicide." And then he said, "You better watch what you're saying. We know what you're about, Mr. Dope Dealer." So, Truth Seeker, I didn't say that that's what I am, but, this is a real story. This is from more than a year ago. The people who I'm fighting, they already know about me. So that's the story. The umbrella and way more. You got more than you asked for. I think marijuana is a good thing, Truth Seeker. It can make a lot of things happen. All right, Truth Seeker, until next time.